Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Commsverse. This session is called Breaking Silos with OPTO4Teams, and today will be presented to you by Shams Khan. Shams, I think you're on mute.
Hello.
We got you now.
Oh, thank you. Hi, Commsverse. Thank you for introducing me, Jesse. My name is Shams Khan, and in this session today, we'll be discussing breaking silos with OPTO4Teams. So just to briefly introduce myself, I work as a principal solutions consultant at SBC Global. I get involved in the 3Ds, that is discovery, design, and development of the digital transformation in UCAS and CCAS space, especially around Microsoft Teams. In today's session, as it says, we'll be discussing breaking silos with OPTO4Teams. And I do have some agenda to take you through. We shall kick off this session with a brief introduction about SBC Global and touch upon current trends in the market, overview, and challenges that has given rise to silos in the communication workflow. Then we shall discuss how OPTO solutions can break the silos. Time permitted, we will try and go through a product walkthrough. Otherwise, we do have a session in post-breakout where we can discuss this a lot more in detail. After this, we will discuss around where to from here and conclude the session with an opportunity to ask some questions and answers. However, if you do have any questions as we go through them, please feel free to pop them in the chat and we shall try and tackle them as we go along. So a brief introduction about SBC Global. SBC started as a parent under a parent company known as Zamer Telecom, with its foundations being rooted in 2004. Zamer was primarily providing IP wholesale interconnect provider in different parts around the world, as you can see with our coverage, which pretty much covered different areas and connectivity globally. SCB, which stands for Simple Call Business, often get confused with SBCs, which is not a bad thing, I suppose. We discuss around the PSTN routes that we have established, and we started providing voice over IP with a carrier pedigree formed especially for the enterprise voice solutions and powering UCAS and CCAS platforms. Some of the things that we've also achieved over the years is to be on various frameworks in the European market, especially on the G-Cloud framework and Janet community, which is for universities and colleges. Moving on from there, we've been constantly growing and expanding as a business. We rebranded ourselves to resonate our global presence to SBC Global, opened up offices in APAC, such as in Sydney, with some other offices around the world, such as Dubai, Ghana, and US one coming up very soon. We've been on the Microsoft journey since in initial days, about 10 years, and started the Microsoft Teams as a first phase back in 2018. About 2019, SBC started to, I think my clicker just went wrong there. SBC started off discussing moving into more getting ISO certifications. We've also developed and designed the machine learning and AI into our core level and launched the OPTO product that we're going to touch upon today, specifically around Microsoft Teams. Okay, so the trends in the industry. So before we move into the topic and get to the discussion, I want you to discuss some of the trends that we're seeing in the industry today. We've seen the confidence in the cloud to be growing constantly. UC is naturally increasing and moving to the cloud. We've noticed this has happened before the pandemic hit as well, and people have been moving, enterprises specifically, and we're moving into the cloud with some reports suggesting that 27% of compound annual growth will be moving to cloud communication adoption, bearing in mind that this was pre-COVID, and the constant rate is shown to be 43% into other cloud-based technologies from other reports as well. The other wave of trend that we have seen is the workplace landscape changing, with a lot of youngsters like myself moving into a workforce who are used to in their personal life around different applications and tools that they use for productivity and getting things done, which is changing the landscape even in the workplace. Another thing and trend that we have noticed is major PBX vendors have accepted that cloud is a future, with less and less R&D being invested in on-premise PBXs and moving into more as a SaaS offering. Naturally, as we know, the COVID pandemic has transformed remote work from a nice-to-have perk into a business necessity overnight. Organizations, many of them are forced to adopt remote working solutions, some adapting to various types of remote working solutions, which we found in our life, in our own experience, working with different people. But an interesting report that I came across from Gartner found that only 12% of the organizations felt completely prepared. So this opens up some questions around what are the possibilities of these 12%? Are they ready when they say they were ready to adopt remote working completely? Were the UC or UCAS transformed, or did their remote working strategy that they employed was at a particular cost? What about the other 88% that have managed to deploy that I call it a band-aid job to keep operations running? But the question really to ask is, at what cost? Some of the recent examples that we came across with some enterprises that we've been working, where they had multiple UC environments in an organization, from different tools being used, multiple silos being created, or telephony environment running separate to their video platform, or some organizations reliant heavily on their VDI environment, leaving employees to be unproductive. And we also found on the back of this that there were quite a few organizations who employed multiple UC platforms ended up creating more tasks in the communication workflow, in the productivity suite for their own employees. Some of them reporting to say 31% losing their train of thought when they do things, which is pretty much this what slide tries to depict. So where does the rise of silos come from? Historically, organizations have viewed collaboration, communication, and contact center as separate silos or islands, if you like, resulting in procurement and services being run separately that often didn't talk to each other. Generally, we also saw providers coming in three different streams: the collaboration providers, the telephony providers, or contact center providers. This may be due to the technical limitations where one platform wouldn't talk to another, and we saw this as an indicator even in the pandemic, and the adoption of UC services resulting in multiple complex workflows or overlapping of platforms which still were not talking to each other, creating inconsistency and also at times suboptimal levels of service, providing a difficult time for organizations to be productive and drive the cloud synergies to increase efficiency. When we look into a bit more deeper, we find that there's a report, but it also marries into what SCB found in their own experience, or at least the past 6 months, is where organizations tend to have, at least as this report suggests, multiple PBXs. So this particular report highlights that 75% had 2 or more PBX vendors. About 33% of those had about 2 or more UC vendors who they were leveraging, at least about 5 conferencing and solutions in production. And some also demonstrated that 40% of the UC licenses that they had were not fully deployed. And an interesting stat that we also came across here in the UK is where there are about millions of Office 365 licenses, but we found 80 to 90%, close to 90%, in fact, were not using Microsoft Teams for their telephony, which naturally comes from barriers that we've also seen, either internal workflows, red tapes, and business case, which should be a business enabler and advocate of change and fundamental premise to be efficient and profitable as an organization. And the right business case needs to be made to overcome those hurdles. What we found, the companies that were willing to adapt to the change, to this business's unusual scenario, were successful and able to operate efficiently despite the world pandemic that we experienced. So SCB, how SCB solutions come together. This is a particular slide that we will go through how we can break silos using SCB OPTO solutions. It is a known fact that Microsoft Teams rapidly affects the way of working through integration and innovation, outflanking its competitors. The recent exponential growth and uptake is a clear indicator of this. As you can see in the slide here, SCB's OPTO4Teams platform complements Microsoft Teams productivity suite and the hub for workplace. We are helping in creating businesses to create the UCAS, which is a strategy and not a product, helping them to see this holistically and driving that change. So how we can help, it comes in various flavors, starting off with pretty much voice enabling teams and the pillars that we bring together with our SCB and Microsoft partnership is built on simplicity, helping consolidation and driving integration. Which pretty much brings into the mix, as you can see, as a single pane of glass for all your communication needs, be it from a voice enablement in Microsoft Teams, ability to have regulatory compliant calls in different parts around the world, SCB being a carrier. We have full stack services that includes PSTN replacement in almost 48 countries globally. We can provide two-way voice solutions in almost 90 countries globally today, and this is constantly increasing. But we don't stop there. We take a few steps further by providing enhanced UC services that you may be familiar with in your current UCAS environment, or you would be using contact center solutions that may be running in a siloed environment, all inside the Microsoft stack, providing you as a single pane of glass for all your communication needs. And some of the points that we will be touching upon in our later workshops today will be covering a lot more in-depth contact center solutions and some other UC services. Time provided, we will be covering them in this session as well. So this slide that pop up here, I'm not going to read through them all, but just a few call outs that I mentioned to reiterate. We can provide advanced PBX functions inside the Microsoft Teams solution with our OPTO platform. We can even provide you with native Microsoft Teams call recording, which is MiFID II compliant. We can break silos even in your operational and service delivery with our global coverage. We can provide you with security and compliance pack, which offers greater flexibility, getting rid of those powerful PowerShell scripting, and also provide you with advanced reports and analytics that may be very important for your business environment. I think this is a good time for us to take a pause and understand from the audience where they think they are in their UCAS journey with using these little avatars that I have. And I'll look at the Q&A if anything comes up.
We don't have any Q&A questions right now, so I think we can probably keep moving.
No worries. So as you can see in this slide here, that we would like to understand where customers are in their journey, and all customers could use this avatar to fully understand where they are in their journey. And I'd be intrigued to discuss and speak to someone who thinks they are at the transform stage, and it would be interesting to learn from them how they went about in their journey. One of the major challenges, or few challenges that we've listed here, and some we've touched upon, is to break away from the apps of multiple voice video conferencing or instant messaging capabilities, which is where SCB recommends Microsoft Teams as a perfect gateway for solutions around your UCAS and CCAS space. No requirement to have multiple UC platforms in various countries, because Microsoft runs in 150 plus countries today, and SCB can pretty much complement the stack even in the most hard to reach places, be it in Dubai or India or any other African locations, as a single platform complementing Microsoft Teams. And also we recognize that there is a possibility that you have an existing asset or a PBX system that you wish to leverage. SCB's OPTO4Teams platform has got a powerful middleware or a connector that can enable you to converge the two platforms together, providing a single point of delivery service. So take it further, how do enterprises close this gap, which we can potentially see that is the case in their UCAS strategy? SCB recommends that you should expect, as an enterprise voice globally that is SLA backed, a singular UCAS and CCAS platform, because that is possible in this day and age, to streamline your investments and enable cloud synergies, and more importantly, to maximize efficiency and ROI. SCB's OPTO platform comes with carrier pedigree and allowing you to have a single supplier with the ability to hook in advanced UCAS capabilities should you wish to have them, or CCAS feature sets with a managed service end-to-end, and the ability to have hybrid deployments as opposed to rip and replace in their cloud journey. And the outcome naturally we expect to be to get the organizations to have an out-of-the-box solution or to bespoke options should they wish, and have full UCAS functionality that works with Microsoft Teams globally in a consistent and accessible manner. So just a quick overview to in the product. What we offer as a first flavor, any organization who wishes to use SCB Global for OPTO4Teams offering, which is voice enablement as a first flavor, you'll be able to leverage the existing Microsoft Teams admin capabilities and Microsoft Teams feature set from a PBX function that is known as phone system, but we kind of move them away from having to use PowerShell scripts and commands using our connector that is fully GUI driven, friendly, and enables in automation of provisioning. You can get full support and training alongside this, as SCB is a Microsoft CSP as well. You can even get licenses from SCB if you are interested in going down the Microsoft path, but you don't have a CSP to support you. In addition to that, you would also get some other capabilities from the voice enablement of Microsoft Teams that you can use the SCB portal to configure and design your voice policies, to get PSTN reports on a single portal, although you have the choice to go into the Microsoft Teams Admin Center as well, configure your auto attendance, pickup groups, and get some other UC features that should come on the other slide. Such as getting your access to your call history. There's no other bots or connectors leveraging here. We are pretty much natively sitting inside Microsoft Azure and the Office 365 cloud environment using a hosted architecture. Customers do not need to go and buy any VMs or any SBCs. SCB's OPTO4Teams platform comes in a simple subscription as a service model for your organizations to leverage and take benefit of our global footprint quite easily, with the ability to get all the access and natively inside Microsoft Teams, be it accessing your contacts or retrieving your voicemails, setting up forwarding rules based on your presence, and some other features as well. So as we mentioned earlier, SCB's enhancement on the UCAS stack allows organizations to integrate and get access to 40 plus business applications, that various CRMs, some of them popular ones being Dynamics, Salesforce, Zoho, Sugar CRM, etc. We can also enable those advanced UCAS features, be it ACD groups, hunt groups with basic or advanced algorithm, or multi-level IVR with wallboards and queues as well. We can also provide organizations with the DR capabilities for the UCAS strategy, which is quite essential living in a time like this where business critical communications are reliant upon a UCAS product, which again ties back into UCAS being a strategy and not a product. We take a few steps further as well, should the organization requirements demand, by having the ability to provide native omnichannel contact center solution that comes with FAQ bots, dips into Microsoft bot framework, gives you the ability to have NLP, AI, wallboards, chatbots, and a lot of other things within this space with comprehensive reporting, analytics around the entire stack for all forms of interactions in the OPTO platform. One of the other features that we've been promoting and providing organizations with is compliant call recording solution that is fully natively inside Microsoft Teams. It comes in 4 different flavors, starting from the left, which is recording, known as smart recording license, that allows organizations to have retention time, have user configuration, all sitting inside Teams. You can also search and replay, and it comes with a subscription model as well that can be mixed and matched with Microsoft calling plans, should you have one, or with SEB calling plans or direct routing metered option as well. You get the access of 5 GB of storage per user with the ability to buy more buckets of storage that can be shared across the enterprise as well. The next tier is actually going into the analytics and recording. And again, we can show you this in a detailed one-to-one demo later in the day or throughout Comsverse in our booth, or booking up some time with myself as well, or somebody from SCB. I have got some slides here to show what the recording product does. It's, as you can see, natively inside Microsoft Teams. It comes with sentiment bar and all the other rich analytics, leveraging Microsoft Cognitive Services. You can also access reports inside Microsoft Teams with leveraging Power BI, again, singing the Microsoft story, leveraging Microsoft products to complement the solution further. And if you're an administrator, you can pretty much record or monitor or manage all the users in your enterprise and set up rules going to a granular level to each user type as well. SCB also has a product known as OPTO Shield, which works again in harmony with the Microsoft stack. Microsoft does have a security and compliance pack, also known as information barriers. But whereas with SCB, we want to try and unlock all those capabilities that are important for enterprise and are required by the enterprise without having to use PowerShell commands or get those rich GUI feature set, data set reports as well, or have the flexibility to create components such as ethical wall. And I have some slides to compare and show what value SCB can provide in addition to what Microsoft security and compliance can offer today. So this table here can give you a quick snapshot what the comparison looks like. For example, for Microsoft, you have internal control by groups and users that you get, but you potentially don't get any external control for external users or control different modalities. You probably have to leverage my PowerShell, which is not a requirement in the OPTO Shield product from SCB, and you get a lot of options to have auditing and notifications for your ethical wall. The next item on the list is DLP, which is real-time inspection using internal DLP or leading vendors. One of the, again, differentiators in this is we do real-time versus Microsoft's current near real-time capability. It may work for many, but if you want real-time local capturing and monitoring and management, then SCB has a product in the market that can be procured to provide you that additional layer of security and compliance. The next one is eDiscovery to provide you the on-site archiving and searching of all communications. And again, a table to give you a quick snapshot what it looks like. Comes with a GUI portal with rich reporting and ability to integrate with other stack of the security and compliance pack known as OPTO Shield. The next one is compliance recording. We discussed compliance recording, but from a viewpoint now to look at the running DLP and various capabilities in the compliance recording stack, should you require leveraging AI and other further DLP analysis to be ran on the audio transcript or video transcript, soon to be appearing even the user identity detection, such as a video call like this. If you would be attending, are you the person or the participant that you claim to be? So that should be coming in very soon as well. The last one on the list is channel management, which is quite important as everybody's moving into Teams, into managing all the private channels and merging channels or archiving, exporting can be quite hectic. SCB has an option again here to make it easier to manage your channels and teams inside Microsoft Teams stack. To sum this up or come to a conclusion, SCB has a global pedigree with full UC stack. We define full UC stack as ability to provide local dial plan, number porting, access to emergency services, as well as having legal call intercept. So that stack sits at 48 countries today, which is nice from a global provider and having a global UCAS strategy and procurement. We also have capabilities in countries where either we can't do number porting for regulatory challenges or reasons, or we have challenges around emergency calling. That stack sits at 90+ countries today. We are able to do this because of our interconnects that we have going back into our history from 2004 with direct tier 1 carriers around the world, bringing you as a single pane of glass UCAS CCAS service inside Microsoft Teams. We are a solution-led organization. It may come across a bit biased as representing SCB today, but we believe in delivering solutions that are federated, as we fully recognize the rip and replace is not the way to go when you're moving from one technology and platform. And we wrap this around with our crawl, walk, and run strategy. We also provide a greater depth of our product portfolio so customers can get a single pane of glass management and reporting around the entire UCAS stack, especially connectivity. Connectivity being an essential bedrock for most of these application layer products that we're discussing, and providing the backbone connectivity into the enterprise network as well. We heavily rely and focus on providing compliant solutions that are ready for the enterprise, and we do this by having multiple POPs as well around the world, again leveraging Microsoft Azure and Equinix and Telehouse too. We provide greater integrations into Microsoft Teams, and with our in-house development capabilities, we are able to integrate with any other hybrid solutions or platforms that you may have and you wish to hook them in to Microsoft Teams. Lastly, I would like to thank everybody who participated in Commsverse or made it happen, from sponsors to people who have put this together, the team, and everybody else who's also joining us and supporting Commsverse. And we'll open the floor now for any Q&A. You can use the chat facility here to ask any questions. You can also join me in the post-session breakout. Here's a link here, and I hope that there are some other links that should pop up as well after the session.
All right, Shams, we don't have any questions in Q&A.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody out there have questions? Now is your time to post it. Doesn't look like we have anything.
Not a problem. I would like to thank everyone once again for joining us. And if you do have any questions around the session today, please do find me in the post-session breakout room now. Otherwise, drop us at the virtual booth or book a meeting through there, and we'll be happy to take you through in detail with our product that we are able to offer in Microsoft Teams today. And lastly, not to forget, please take part in our survey, which is a link here. about the session, and it helps us as well as in future sessions like this.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you in the breakout session.
Thank you. Bye.